This is just incredible. Russians just recently started a new offensive and already they got obliterated in a major battle, and as much as almost the entire tank regiment of more than 31 tanks have been almost completely lost. And just when you thought that Russians do not care much about their military vehicles, Chechens in Crimea recently destroyed 4 of their armored transporters. And by the way, today I'll show you a pretty cringy trick how I can cut my hair and beard in just several seconds. But yeah, just all about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And let's go straight to the point and see some most recent footage. And as always, we begin with some more cringe material. And today is just an epic one. So, we have this Russian actress, Maria Shukshina, who said that Ukrainians, whenever they use HIMARS systems, the only reason why it is so precise, it is because Russian soldiers were vaccinating themselves against the virus with the Sputnik vaccine. And yes, you heard me right. It took me probably several times to prepare myself to say this sentence without laughing. But long story short, she said that the entire special military operation of America against Russia started back in 2020 with developing this virus and then creating this vaccine and then forcing the population of Earth to use them, so that in the future, whenever Russia announces a war against Ukraine, so apparently this was also in the plan in the heads of American authorities, so that in the future whenever Ukrainians will be using American HIMARS systems, it will be so easy to coordinate them. Just think about what she just said. And I mean, wasn't Sputnik developed by Russian scientists? So, I mean, the entire statement begs for a lot of questions, so I think the one which I just asked, it is the least of all evils. But okay. Alright, back to now serious news. And then as you can see from this video, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Oleksiy Reznikov, is happy like a child with Christmas presents, driving around this Challenger 2 British tanks, which were supplied to Ukraine recently. In addition to that, the British intelligence made an entire 30 minutes documentary about Ukrainians training to use these tanks. It is extremely interesting, believe me, and I will leave it completely for free on my Patreon. The link will be down below. And speaking about the tanks, the Portuguese Leopard 2A6 tanks, 3 of them also already arrived to Ukraine. Then we have this picture of a Czech self-propelled artillery system called Slavuchich, which Ukrainians are allegedly using in the eastern front lines. And just in case if it feels too much of these Western military vehicles and equipment to learn, don't worry, Pentagon got you. They allegedly are in creation process of these play cards, which will have this majority of NATO equipment with their description, basic ones, and the names. And so yes, let's see if Pentagon actually produces them, then I might try to find them and even buy them to later play during one of my live streams or in my Discord group, maybe even with one of you guys. And if you want to be this lucky person, just please like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow my second channel, The Russian Dude Clips, where I post under 1-minute summaries every single day. The link will be down below. So yes, in several seconds you will witness my hair witchcraft. But first of all, just let me give you a couple more words about the Western support to Ukraine. And first of all, we have the Prime Minister of Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, who is saying that European Union will compensate Poland approximately 300 million euros in the near future, and then there might be a second contribution of approximately 600 more million euros for the country helping Ukraine. And without a doubt, this should definitely motivate other European countries to help Ukraine as well, because European Union will have their backs. Next we have a video of an intercepted Russian Shahed drone 135 and 136, which Ukrainians, they do not just destroy them, in fact they deconstruct them, see the technology and maybe even reuse some of the materials and engines. And speaking about the drones, recently in the capital of Russia, in the southwest of Moscow, a local resident was able to find the remains of this drone, which was approximately 2 meters in size. And whenever he turned one of the wings upside down, he was able to find this Slava Ukraine, which is basically glory to Ukraine, Ukrainian slogan on the body parts of this drone. Recently, according to the Ministry of Defense of Russia, which should always automatically trigger you to be more aware whether the next information you're gonna hear is true or not, but they reported that they were able to intercept one of the first GLSDB missiles from Ukrainians. But, however, there is one single problem. Back in February of this year, America kinda promised to deliver these missiles to Ukraine, but it might take anywhere approximately to 9 months. And right now, at the moment of recording this video, it is still March. So whenever American GLSDB missile got intercepted by Russian Ministry of Defense, this information is kinda untrustworthy. But unfortunately, sometimes such ridiculous Russian propaganda is unavailable for me since I'm outside of Russia and is simply locked based on geolocational restrictions. And this is where the wizard that makes my hair and beard disappear, and also the sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN, comes in handy. But what is this even VPN? Well, this is a virtual private network which will allow all of your internet traffic to travel safely through a protected and encrypted tunnel. And this way it protects you from the data breach, malicious software, and of course the Russian hackers. And I was able to get an incredible deal, so get ready for this. Not 50, not 75, but 83% discount for a 3-year deal with 3 months for free, and it only comes at $1.83 per month. And in order to activate this limited time offer, please use my link in the description. It's extremely easy. But wait, there is more. With Atlas VPN you can finally use the public Wi-Fi, you can finally see movies and TV shows on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Netflix, which recently have been unavailable due to geolocation restrictions. And so right now, if you want to become a part of the Russian Duty VPN gang, please use my link down below. Make sure to take advantage of this limited time offer, which gives you 83% discount, 3 months for free, and unlocks all the features of safe VPN browsing for only $1.83 per month. And if you are still not satisfied, there is a 30 days money back guarantee. Thank you so much Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video, and now back to the program. Alright, and before I talk about Russians being literally crushed in one of the most recent crucial offensive they attempted in the east, let me give you a very quick news from the south of Ukraine. And first of all, as you can see from this picture which came to us from Crimean Peninsula, Russians for some reason installed this single-man trench and also this concrete post guarding the sea. Then we go to Crimean Bridge itself, where Chechen soldiers were kinda street racing on their military vehicles, and apparently 4 out of 5 of these armored vehicles have been severely damaged. So yes, first it was Ukrainians who were destroying Russian military vehicles, then Ukrainians were stealing them, and now Russians just destroyed themselves. But okay, next to get closer to the east, and as you can see from this video, recorded by locals in Mariupol, Russians started to dig trenches through this highway which leads from Mariupol, Nikolsky, Rozivka, Kamenka and all the way to Polokhy, and as you can see these trenches and other fortifications. And then right here is the video of one of Ukrainian partisans from Donetsk region. Obviously the location is not disclosed, but he says that it is time to clear the region from Russian collaborators. Right here is the video from the south of Ugledar, where Ukrainians are using FPV drones, which are first-person view drones. The biggest advantage of such drones is that there is actually a person who is using them, which makes them extremely agile and increases their maneuverability, which basically allows them to fly through the windows and in very tight spots inside Russian trenches. And as of recently, Ukraine already created 3 whole drone companies made of entirely Ukrainian-made drones, and this will be just a small part of the future army of drones. And if you also got inspired and now you want to see more drone footage, including the first-person view ones, I recently found several new drone footage, including the FPV ones, and I uploaded all of them to my Patreon. The link will be down below, and there's still 1 week of free access. Alright, and now as promised, let's talk about the east of Ukraine and the most recent failure of the Russian army. And first of all, according to the report by the Institute for the Study of War, Russians continue their offensive along Kupiansk, Svatove, Crimea front line, and they made very small marginal gains around Svatove. As we go more to the south and we take a look at this map which shows us the changes in territorial control, we can see that Russians got a little bit closer to Zarychny, but then going even more to the south, we can see that Ukrainians expanded their liberated territory to the east of Belohirivka. Then we go down to Bakhmut itself, where the situation has been complicated but stable for the last several weeks, and the main directions of Russian attacks come from the north and south of this settlement. And then according to the commander of Ukrainian army, General Syrsky, Russians even attempted recently to capture this city using one of their highly prepared forces. But Ukrainians already knowing what Russians are going to do, which is mostly just send waves after waves of soldiers, they are also able to successfully repel these assaults, inflicting once again significant losses on the Russian army. And as for now, according to General Syrsky, the main responsibility of defenders of Bakhmut is to deplete as much of Russian soldiers as possible. And as we also take a look at this map which shows us the changes in territorial control, we can see that Russians were a little bit successful in the southeast of Bakhmut, but once again at a cost of hundreds of lives. And recently, Ukrainian, along with the Western intelligence, was able to establish that indeed Russians were relocating some of its forces, including Wagner soldiers, from Bakhmut all the way down south to Avdiivka, in order to attempt to be a little bit more successful in this new place. And specifically according to the British intelligence, Russians in the recent day intensified their attempts to assault Avdiivka. However, just like in Bakhmut, just like in Vuhledar, and pretty much any other significant battle in the past, Russians were only able to achieve small, extremely small gains at the cost of hundreds, and at this point probably already thousands of lives, and also it cost them the entire, almost entire tank regiment, and if I'm not mistaken, it consists of 31 battle tanks, so I would say that at least 20 of them were destroyed. Reportedly, Russians, along with this tank regiment, they were attacking from the south of Avdiivka, but once again, if we take a look at this map, they were not able to advance anywhere closer to Opitne, and the only place where they were only able to expand their invasion a little bit was to the west of Vodiane. And the British intelligence highlights at least 2 reasons why this offensive, yet another offensive of Russians, which has completely failed. The reason number 1, it is because of the commandment of Russians. Once again they were using the same prehistoric 100-year-old tactics, which is just sending tanks or people without any support at all in these frontal attacks. And the reason number 2, which is probably what we already know, is the poor morale and extremely bad discipline of the Russian soldiers. So when you combine these 2 factors, pretty much you can see the result yourself. And so yes, my assumption still stands the same. As soon as Russia officially acknowledges their losses in Bakhmut and probably in Avdiivka, this is when most likely we can see the turning point in this war, especially because the Western military vehicles already started arriving to Ukraine. And if you don't want to miss any of this Ukrainian victorious counteroffensive, just please make sure to subscribe to my channel. It only takes 1 click. Thank you so much Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. Feel free to check my Patreon for this 30-minute documentary and the drone footage, and all the other useful links can be found down below. Thank you so much for your attention, товарищи, and see you tomorrow.